where I came from, the roads are smooth, but you're concerned about your life every time you walk out your door.
Yeah.
I was in the South, like, during COVID, people were like strapped. Everybody was strapped.
Really?
Realizing like, oh, you're not really seen as one of them. You're seen as a foreigner, an Obroni.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But here it's like you're, like, if you think you're a 5 in the U.S., you come here and you're like a 12. Because like you are not equally yoked, that there is this inherent assumption that you'll pay for everything, you'll cover everything, you're good. So like, especially Black Americans, I'm speaking directly to us, because we have a lot of assumptions and then things that we are carrying that we forget to leave at the airport. Everyone is coming doing the land route, and then got scammed and didn't work out. So like, we try to kind of follow in the footsteps of some.
I'm interested to know though, what has the currency fluctuation been like for you?
We didn't know that even people we thought were friends and guiding us in the right direction were actually just filling their own pockets.
Hey!
Greetings!
Hi Liana, welcome back.
Thank
We
you.
just shot an episode on one of my other channels, and so we're here today. So today I want to hear all about your Ghana experience. I don't know if have you done an interview like this with anybody else?
No.
You haven't? Okay,
This is the
I get to
first
be
one.
first.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Well, hey guys, welcome back. All right. So today I'm going to have an amazing conversation with Liana about your move to Ghana, everything that has transpired, your business, all of that good stuff. So I want you to tell me all of it.
Yes.
So first of all, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself before we start.
So I am Liana. I am a really passionate multi-entrepreneur. I'm like wearing many, many hats. So I own and operate a digital agency called EverySpec. And I'm basically all about supporting purpose-driven entrepreneurs and business owners in the wellness sector. That's really like what I like to focus on. And then I just started a new fashion brand called Afrique Robes. And I'm wearing one today. And this brand is just all about transformation and legacy and just all the different ways your garments can transform with you as you grow as a woman. So that's what I'm doing. And it, like I said on the other channel, I'm always working on myself. That's always the foundation of everything that I do. I try to do it from a really authentic and open space. So,
Beautiful. Okay, so when did you move to Ghana?
I moved to Ghana in May 2021.
Okay. And what has your experience been like? I found out some of this information on the other channel, but I'm going to say you moved from the States,
Durham, North Carolina,
and you moved to Takoradi.
Takoradi, yes.
My gosh,
not Accra.
No. How did you get to Takoradi, and why did you choose Takoradi of all the places?
I know, right? So when I made the decision that Ghana was it, I started to join a lot of different Facebook groups and a lot of online communities of expats, people who have left the U.S., moved to Ghana, and I connected with one family in particular who they were also a big family, had children the same age as my own, and they were in Takoradi, and they were just telling us how things are cheaper, you have more peace of mind, things are a little slower paced, but there was community there. Their children were attending a school that was owned and operated by Black Americans, very homeschool oriented, and so basically I just got so many green flags about Takoradi, and the fact that we would be kind of like walking in the footsteps of a very similar family made me feel comfortable that it would be a good decision, because Accra is so vast, and just kind of throwing I didn't, at the time, you don't know Osu from Adenta, everything is just words, so that year in Takoradi really kind of gave us the opportunity to move at a slower pace, get to know Ghana, get to know the traditional, because we were in a very local community, so we were kind of put right in the middle of just, a very traditional space, so you learn, you need to greet people, every fruit seller is an auntie, the first price is never these things I learned. Not only did so much I was watching your channel, everybody's channel on YouTube prior to us leaving, so there was a lot I kind of desensitized myself to in a good way, just so that I wasn't coming here, like some people do, totally culture shock. They
Yeah.
just totally are just like not understanding why things happen like the way that they do. I kind of prepared myself a little bit for that. But the first year in Takoradi was a game changer.
Wow. I mean, my surprise to you saying that you went to Takoradi is because most people, it's either Accra or Cape Coast.
Yeah.
Those are really the two main places that people tend to start off in. So Takoradi, I think you're the first person I've heard that moved straight to Takoradi, you know? And so I can imagine that life was very, very different there. But how did you adjust from being in the States where everything is so like, so go and, you know, there's things on tap to coming and slowing down? Because I find that for a lot of people, the hardest part for them is to be able to slow down. Yeah.
That trend, it was like a welcomed transition. It was very like, okay, well, it forced us to go back to our roots. It forced me to get in the kitchen more and do more, you know, cooking. Because in Takoradi, there's no boat food, you know? Like there's no like deliveries or conveniences. It's very much so go get the essentials and make them at home. So like I became this homebody that was just all about, you know, the day-to-day routine and the making the food, and I loved it, you know, because in the U.S. everything is popping in the microwave, you know, just, you know, it's a different. I was trying to be healthy, but we were not healthy, you know. I was actually obese in the U.S. Coming here, I lost a lot of
Really?
Yeah.
No, I just assumed you'd always been like
No. I wish I could like show up.
No, you have to send one. I'll have to add it to the video. What?
Yeah, I will.
I cannot imagine that.
So yeah, like being here was a welcome. I wanted to slow down because you're just in the U.S. you're just snacking it, drive through it. Like I love not having a car. I loved not being able to just like get up and go. Like you had to plan your day out, be strategic, you know, and make the most out of those in-town trips because we were not in Takoradi. We were in Essapon, which is like 45 minutes away from Takoradi. So to go into town was a journey that you needed to prepare for.
Like a road trip.
Every time. It's like every time. It is like a little bit of a excursion. So yeah, it was good though. I was happy for the change. I was happy for the different pace. I was definitely frustrated, you know, with the roads and the smells. That took a little bit of adjusting, but it was so those little things were insignificant compared to where I came from. Well, the roads are smooth, but you're concerned about your life every time you walk out your door. I was in the South, like people, during COVID, people were like strapped. Everybody was strapped.
Really?
Yes, everybody. Like even to the point where I even applied to get my guns license because I felt like it was. I would be, like, I would be doing my family a disservice if we didn't own a firearm. Like that feeling of like protection and survival was so real that when we got here, I was like, wow. I'm like, I don't have any of that. Like all of that, you know, conditioning and, you know, you don't even realize that you're operating in fight or flight mode constantly in the U.S. And then you come here and then you kind of turn that dial off and like turn up the dial of like living and like finding yourself and enjoying your children, you know, not just shoving them off here, shoving them off there, you know, distracting them. Now we're like, we're in the dirt today. We're going on a hike, you know, we're going down because we were pretty much facing the ocean, you know, every day. That was what we woke up to. And so we had the plan. That's why I kind of felt like I was in the space of like waiting for ascension and like the next layer of life because you see this beauty every day. You have the earth at your fingertips, like literal like wildlife. And, you know, we were in just such a space where you could see every type of bird and flowers and, you know, just things that are
little things that you don't normally get to appreciate.
We didn't appreciate, you know. So that the transition was welcome and necessary.
So how did your children, how were they able to transition? Because, you know, like for us adults, sometimes, you know, it can be a little bit hard because we are stuck in our ways. We're used to certain things. And a lot of people do worry about bringing children here. Like, I don't know how they're going to adjust, and, you know. But how was that for you?
I love this question because for me, our experience was so different because they're young. My children were 5, 3, and I was still breastfeeding my daughter. She was like 1.5 or something when
you
I
know,
got here.
Your stories are always so similar to mine. I'm like, is this woman trying to mirror me or what?
Yes,
because
no,
my son was 5 when we moved here as well. Yeah, my eldest was 5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my youngest at the time, my third born, he was 1.5.
Oh my goodness.
So that's why I'm like, is she mirroring me?
Like,
how much research has she done? Like,
no, like I'm fresh. Like this is literally my experience. Right. It's crazy. Yeah. So like they were at the age where they love the dirt. They love being outside. They love, you know, just kind of having the day to explore and play and grow and do things. Even like, you know, we didn't have a automatic washing machine. We had that semi-automatic one. So, of course, no dryer. So being a part of the day-to-day, hanging clothes with mommy, you know, going to the market.
Those things are fun.
These things were fun for them, and it was an adventure to them. Everything was new. They're seeing goats and chickens and things that. Prior to being in Durham, North Carolina, we were only there briefly, but most of their, at least my oldest upbringing was in Baltimore City. And Baltimore City is not child friendly. Well, at least when we were there, it was not. I hear it's been gentrified since I've left.
Yeah, no, I went there. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not. Everything that I just mentioned is not there, and so like my oldest really I wouldn't see him. I loved the feeling of waking up and not knowing where my children were right away. You know, they were always around, but just knowing they were safe. Yeah. That is a privilege I will never take for granted. Never. Like, that is worth all of the little Ghanaian idiosyncrasies and the things that, you know, are not convenient. It trumps all of that. It really does, because that safety is something that only a specific race has in the U.S. And it's like, I didn't know it was a real thing until I got here and started to experience that level of like, wow, for myself, you know? So the kids are fine. If anything, I always say that they're my North Star, because when I see them well, thriving, being okay, making friends, you know, it makes me feel like, okay, I made the right decision. I'm not totally screwing my kids up and uprooting them from everything they know. But what's great is because they came so young, my daughter doesn't even know the U.S. All she knows is Ghana. Like, from the age of 2, she was carrying things on her head. And, like, she swore she was an auntie from the age of 2. Like, you know, she would wrap up her clothing. She didn't want to wear I had, you know, did a bunch of shopping before we left. And all of that stuff ended up getting donated because she wanted to just wrap fabric around her every day. So, no, they've adjusted well. And if anything, it's more, they teach me, they inspire me to keep going, keep assimilating, keep learning.
That's so nice. So was there anything that shocked you when you moved to Ghana? Anything that was tough?
It was tough coming here and, you know, thinking you would be embraced by people who look like you, and then realizing like, oh, you're not really seen as one of them, you're seen as a foreigner, an Obroni. I didn't know that I didn't know what that could feel like. I would hear it on YouTube and I could see that whoever was the person talking about the word, it wasn't a good thing. It didn't make us feel good. I didn't know really why until I started to have the Obroni experience, where it's like you're charged higher for things, you know, it's smile in your face, but they don't like your tattoos, and they talk shit about you in Twi or Fanti when I was in the U.S. I mean, in Takoradi. So like, that was a little tough, kind of like the eyes on you. In the U.S., you just blend in. You know what I'm saying? You are just, I don't know, a speck in the hay. Like, you just exist. But here, it's like you're, like, if you think you're a 5 in the U.S., you come here and you're like a 12. Because, like, it's like the fact that they've never seen anything like you before. And so that attention took a lot. It took a lot to, you know, manage. But it helped me a lot with what someone would probably prescribe in the U.S. as anxiety. It really is just like the fear of being seen. And like, I really am embracing it more so now, where it's like, you're right, I am something to look at. My family, not just me, but like all of my children, when we're together, we are like, I don't know, a force or something, where it's like people are always like, wow, they look different, or I don't know what it is, but these are things that it took some time to get used to, you know, really took some time. But and I'm trying to think what else was. I think the open gutters. That's just the typical things. But if I'm really honest, it's that whole, not totally being welcomed and seen differently. That was the biggest thing that I struggled with. And it also made it a little hard to like build friendships, because I realized that if you are not equally yoked, that there is this inherent assumption that you'll pay for everything, you'll cover everything, you're good. So like, it's almost as if we're not human a little bit. And I'm like, oh, they won't mind if we just act like this. Or, it just kind of challenged the dynamic of what I thought friendships were. But once I understood it's a game. And when you think about it, it's a little bit of, you have to understand your role. It's not going to change how you are viewed. It will never change. But all you can do is just show up, be a good person, be fair, and be firm. You know, I had to, a little bit of my growing and awakening, whatever you want to call it, is like knowing that it's okay if someone doesn't like your response, as long as you get the respect that you deserve in whatever the transaction or situation is, so it's, if anything, the things that have been uncomfortable were, like I said, a necessary discomfort that I needed just for my own growth, so nothing to like that's made me, I gotta go back, I can't do this anymore. I hear from the people who are here part-time, they have a different experience. Like, they need a break from Ghana, and it definitely happens.
Oh yeah.
But it's different. Like when you talk to someone who is part time versus someone who's in the trenches in Ghana, like they haven't left in some time. It's a different experience.
It absolutely is. You're absolutely right. I say it all the time that like, if you have one foot in and one foot out, the minute that Ghana upsets you a little bit, you're like, I need to go. Like, I need a break. You're gonna be in that. But if you have like chosen Ghana, then you stick with it. Like when you were in the States, you didn't say, okay, well, if I have a bad day, I'm gonna go and live somewhere else. Right. It's not like that. So it's almost like the same mindset you have to apply here. And also, there is nothing wrong with going back and forth, but you have to understand Ghana for what it is. These are the challenges that you're gonna have in Ghana. These are the challenges that you're gonna have in the States. And so it's about knowing where you are and adapting to those different things,
Exactly. And really, like, I think that people need to take time to like actually debunk some of the inner myths that they have about Africa and Ghana, especially Black Americans. I'm speaking directly to us, because we have a lot of assumptions and then things that we are carrying that we forget to leave at the airport when we step into the land. Like, we actually need to do more of I keep saying inner work, but that's what it is. Like, we just have to keep doing that, so that when we get here, we're not so disappointed. I think that when you have the opportunity to see, like what you said, see Ghana for what it is, you know how to plug in and operate and not be frustrated all the time. Because if you are carrying the American mindset and trying to apply it here, you're going to burn yourself out every single time. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to, things aren't going to fall into place like you want them to. So,
was there anything that you feel like you did carry into Ghana when you came from the States?
I think does anyone talk about the Madame effect? Like, where it's like now being like, that is a new thing, and it's not something I carried. It's actually something I had to step into. Because, like I said, in the U.S., you kind of blend it. And, especially when you become a wife and mom and all these labels are on, you just kind of go on that path. You stay in that box. And so what I did kind of carry is that same small mindset that kind of, that it just didn't work here, because they don't understand when you don't know your role. Like, I wish I could explain it better.
Okay. So explain what the Madame effect is. What is that?
It's like when you are in a new place where your value goes up more than you see for yourself.
Right.
And so now you're not just your name or your role, you're the madame. You're madame this, madame that, madame please. And it's like it's something that I've heard some people talk about, like in inner circles, and it really isn't a thing that happens where you are the value changes, you're adjusting to that, and you kind of have to, all right, these are the glasses they have on when they see me. Let me step up a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me carry myself.
It's almost like you got a pay rise without getting a pay rise, right?
I was trying to find the words. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yes, the price went up. Like something happened. Whereas now you kind of have to just move a little differently. And some people, I do see some like totally rebel and like don't know what to do with that. This newfound tag, right? You know, but the ones who are accepting it, or at least trying to get it, you know, they have an easier experience when you kind of. I'm not trying to say like just get along, you know. I'm trying to say it's a process that you either get or you don't, and the experience is just gonna be different. Not bad, just different. You know.
Do you wish that you had moved straight to Accra? Because you're in Accra now, right?
Yes, now I'm in Accra.
Or would you have still wanted that?
I would have still wanted the Takoradi experience, for real. It was necessary. I think that if I plugged right into Accra, I wouldn't have gotten off of the rat race that I was like trying to leave from. Because you're in a city, you gotta feel like you gotta do something. There's all these events, you gotta be like, I didn't want to network. I just wanted to exist. You know, I wanted to just like totally village woman it out. Like I was deep in my I subscribe. Now they're calling me Rasta, right? So like, okay, let me I'm like the crunchy madam. So okay. I think that being in Takoradi first was just really helpful for me to acclimate, assimilate, and just get comfortable with who I needed to be here. And then when I got to Accra, it was like another layer of something else kind of switched, where now I'm in the Accra game, or I don't know why I subscribe it to a game, but now I'm in a new space where there's a new set of functions and assumptions that are made, and then you operate, you find your circles, you find your tribe, and I don't know, you find a way to collaborate with people, because everything in Accra is collaboration. Everything is like who you know, your network is your net worth. My good sis Niamal is always telling me this, and it's true, because you never know how that person can support or can unlock something that you're working on, or you know. So I quickly learned that you gotta, like, whoever you are, be that person, and then go out with that confidence of knowing who you are, and then just trust that you will be connected with the right people, you know. So I'm happy that I had, because if I came straight in, I still didn't know myself, you know. I wouldn't know, I would have looked messy, and just I don't know if I even came in not messy, but I at least feel like I had a clearer sense of this new landscape versus being just, you know, a newbie, totally wet behind the ears, and just not knowing anything or anyone. Like I was grateful for that time, and now I guess I've been in Accra for what, like 4 years now, 4 going on 5. So I'm also not in the heart of Accra, so maybe that changed, but I found my pace. I found my routines, and I've been good with that. Like I've been good with that. There's still room for a little more excitement, I guess. You know, I would love to explore more. There's so much I haven't seen, and places I haven't gone to. But with what I know, I'm just happy. I'm grateful for it. So.
I know that one of the things that people worry about when they want to come here is how they can make money or continue to make money. That's the biggest thing that I feel like stops people being able to come here. So how was that for you?
It wasn't easy. I will say, like, because I was a sole income household of 5 at the time, I had to really rely on the skills that the digital skills that I have, that I can, you know, make money from my computer. That's been my biggest saving grace, because I sometimes see on the Facebook post people like, so what's the jobs? I'm like, they're like, no, you're not gonna get as an expat. Whatever jobs are out here are not going to be able to pay you what you think you are worth, coming from with your degrees and so you kind of have to be creative. You have to do things a little outside of the box, a little different than what you would, you know, if you were in the U.S. I know some come with the 9 to 5 that can transition to virtual permanently, and that's a blessing for people who are able to do that. But when I was here, I tried to go that route. Like I tried to interview.
What were you going for, and what was the salary like?
I was going for $95,000 a month. Annual positions, like things that I know I qualify for. I have a degree, executive assistant. I'm really good in the digital admin space. I'm really good with systems and processes and back-end flows, all of that.
Yeah.
So I was going for, administrator and managerial roles that can be done virtually. And I think that I messed up being too honest that I was in Ghana. Even though I'm an American citizen, I got all my documents. It was like because I was in Africa, it closed so many doors, and everybody was
applying online.
Yes, having virtual interviews doing projects. It was almost like I had a job, just trying to get a job.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it became like, here comes the whole destiny and path, and it was like, it was very clear God was not trying to let me go that route. He didn't want me to. Even in the U.S., I had the opportunity to go the corporate route, and it just didn't work out. It was like, no, you need to be in a nonprofit space. You're working directly with people. You're being more creative and entrepreneurial. That seems to be the doors that open for me, because that corporate route, I have tried, and I qualify for those, but it just, anyways. So I quickly learned that I need to use my skills. And I had to lowball myself sometimes just to get the recommendations and the work and build my portfolio. And having a lower price point, even if it's a USD, like let's say in the US it's $2,000 to do a website. I'm doing it for $800 because I want you to see my value and see how I can support your business. And those kind of smaller ticket items just slowly build upon itself. So now the client I did great work for is recommending me to another person and to another person. It was a very organic, unplanned. At the time, I didn't have the money for pushing ads. The things that I'm doing for people, I couldn't even do for myself because it cost money to put yourself out there and to be like a legitimate freelancer or whatever you want to call it.
So you didn't have a stream of income before you came here?
I did, and then because I was in the U.S. Because I left the U.S., they were like, we can't, work with people who are in Africa, specifically Africa. If I said I'm taking a hiatus and going to Europe, I'm sure that would have been fine. I don't know, but it seemed like being here changed everything. So I did have that. I lost it. Then I was kind of floating on unemployment in the U.S. If you're fired for a reason that doesn't include like doing the wrong thing, for lack of better words. It was during COVID, basically. So they were just letting a lot of people go. And I was one of those people. So I pretty much, all of the things that I was doing for that organization, I just started to do for other entrepreneurs and small businesses. And I had a client who, the reason why Ghana even became on my landscape was because one of my first clients after I lost my job, she was considering moving to Africa, moving her whole headquarters to somewhere in Africa. And it was my job to find the country that would be able to, that was stable enough, that could sustain her business. She was in a wellness industry, selling products and things like that. And Ghana just had all the green flags that she needed for it. It was for her. And it came down to it. She didn't actually end up leaving the U.S. at all, but it was a seed. I'm telling you.
Because you've done the research.
I've done all the that's why I was doing so much research, because it was on behalf of someone else making the move. And when I realized how it was possible, I said, well, if she's not going to do it, I'm definitely going to. I know everything now, in my mind. That was before AI could tell me what to do and map it out for me. That was, wow, that's crazy. There was a life before AI.
I know, right? It's like, how do we manage without AI now?
No, just like organic searching. And yeah, like in the middle of COVID, I got all of us. I was the only one in my family who had passports, and I had just had a home birth in 2020, so I didn't have any. Like, you know how the hospital takes care of all that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to do it for yourself when you have a home birth. So I had to get her birth certificate, her social, all of that.
Right.
You know, when all of the employees are working from home, so it wasn't easy to get to Ghana, but it was. Doors kept opening, things kept coming together for us to make it happen. So what was your question? Dang, I feel like
I don't even know, but I'm just listening to you talk. I'm like, okay.
So many things.
Yeah, no, we were talking about finance. And
Right. Okay, yeah. So I was just giving a little bit of context as to just like our journey here, and like some people may hear this and be like, "Oh, you ain't have a plan." Basically, you're right. It's true. Like a
lot of people don't have a plan when they come here, though.
I thought I did. You know, I thought I wanted to. You know, everyone is coming doing the land route, and then got scammed and didn't work out. So like we tried to kind of follow in the footsteps of some, and you know, it was just very clear that I was the person that needed to just figure it out. And once I understood that, and I could, you know, I had to surrender to that fact, really. No one, basically I surrendered to the fact that no one was going to save me. No one was going to pluck us out and, you know, put us on a silver platter and get us set up, and no one is going to do that. So I have to create that life and the lifestyle that I want my children to eventually enjoy being here. I don't want to be here like struggling, you know?
Yeah.
And we did. I mean, we ended up needing to, because it was a part of our journey.
Yeah.
But it was necessary for me to understand my value as an entrepreneur, you know, as a, you know, business owner. It gave me the stepping stones I needed to, you know, create the flow to sustain our lifestyle. So Afri Groves was something that I just started as a boost, you know, as an addition to the stream. You know, obviously everyone wants multiple streams of income coming in. So I just opened another stream to support as I'm learning other things. I want to learn about investing. I want to like do like big girl moves and, you know, the things that will, you know, make money work for you, you know, like where I'm not looking at it, but it's working for you. It's in the market doing something like, these are things I want to know. But this is where I am right now. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly, you know, trying to make sure I'm connecting with the right people who know more than me, so they can, you know, fill me in on some mistakes they've made and that I can learn from and glean from. And so, the financial aspect is really important. Like, it really is important, to, especially with the way that currency is constantly fluctuating.
Yes.
Like, if you plan on coming here and relying on CDs, you won't, you know, there's a tier for you, but it's probably not the tier that you'll be comfortable at, you know, but it's doable. But if you can bring in foreign currency, dollars, you know, whatever, that is what helps a lot. So like using your skills in a way that can make money virtually, that's what I would recommend.
So I know you came with some savings.
Yes.
Did you find that your savings depleted quickly, or were you able to retain some of those until you found another means of working?
Well, the savings depleted quickly. Let me just say. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Because we didn't know what things cost, and I think that because we didn't understand the Oproni experience, we didn't know that even people we thought were friends and guiding us in the right direction were actually just filling their own pockets, you know, with our trust and faith that, you know, these funds were being used for this reason. It was, you know, going to work out, but it didn't. So, even, you know, going into town, that's why we very clearly needed to come to Accra, because, you know, even trying to sustain a remote business in Takoradi, the infrastructure is just lacking. The internet, exactly. Those things were just not going to work. So,
was the internet a real problem
It
trying to work?
It really was. It was a lot more lights out too at that time. So not having a generator, the Wi-Fi being shoddy, and all of these other it made it really challenging. So being in Accra just helped to sustain that aspect of business. So
I see. Okay, yeah. Money is definitely something that can cripple people and sometimes send them back.
Yes.
If you don't have a good plan, or even if you've come without a plan, to quickly find your feet and see what works for you,
Right.
So I know you do like your online jobs that you do, right, which helps sustain you, and you started your clothing brand, which is pretty recent, right?
Yes, very recent.
And what inspired that?
I think the transition in my relationship just inspired, if I can do this, I can do anything. If I can totally uproot my children and be in a different space, that I can pour into a creative venture that, the end is not clear, and whether it feeds us is not clear, but it's something that feels good. And I just love that it is rooted in transformation, something that I feel like I'm constantly in the midst of. The whole thing about Afrique robes is that this one garment can be worn in so many different ways. So it can be worn as like a wrap dress, it could be off the shoulder, no sleeves, one sleeve. There's just a lot of ways that it can travel with you for different seasons, different occasions, and as our bodies change too, from pregnant to postpartum, our bodies are constantly in a state of transformation. And I always would feel, as a formerly huge woman, Jesus.
I still can't believe that. I'm like, she's exagerating.
No, I'm not.
I do not, but until I see the evidence, I do not believe
the evidence. Yes.
I
I just would feel so sad when things didn't fit. And so just having something that is versatile and comfortable, but still stylish. You don't have to, be a mom and just totally lose yourself. You can still find comfortable ways to step out. So that's how this started. And I'm, like I said, I'm no team, just me.
That's how you start.
Working with, good people. Everything is hand-dyed batik, hand sewn. So not by myself, but just by trusted seamstress and textile companies. So that's that.
I'm interested to know though, what has the currency fluctuation been like for you?
It's been challenging. Very, very challenging, because the dollar is not stretching as much as it used to. So maybe 5,000 CDs was like $350. Maybe now it's like $500. It's taking I even needed to change my pricing for some of the digital work that I was doing, because that same $500 was not lasting, or it just wasn't keeping up with my expenses that I refused to go down, the lifestyle that I've created for my children. I don't want that to waver. I need them to be stable and not to see any significant fluctuations in the abundance, So I've just needed to adjust, and I don't have it figured out, but I am adjusting when I see it happening. And I try. I don't get into the politics too much of Ghana. I feel a little separate. I know I'm here, but I'm just so very much so on my path. I kind of have my visors on, a little bit, and just making sure that I'm always adding. If it's a new stream, a new strategy, a new something to just keep the flow going. Wow.
Is there anything that you would change about your experience of moving to Ghana?
If I could change anything, that's a really good question. I think that I would have obviously probably made a better plan, if anything. I would have ended my marriage sooner. That's for the other channel, but I would have just done things soon. Obviously, hindsight is 20/20, so if you know what's coming, you know what to cancel. I would have just taken my time a little bit more to understand how we would sustain ourselves before leaving. But it was I had felt such a sense of urgency I have this feeling like no matter what, it's got to be better than this, you know, even if it's uncertain and I don't see clearly what the outcome will be. I don't know if there's too much I would change, because even the hard shit has been so necessary for
refines you.
It's for me to find who I am, for my children to continue on the beautiful path that they're on. All of those bumps, the things that I felt unprepared for, I'm grateful for all of it, and I'm really proud that even in the midst of it, even without all the resources, that we've been able to get this far and still got things, iron in the fire, still got, things are brewing. So I don't know if there's too much I would change other than just, having a little bit more of a plan, because all of it I'm grateful, and I know it's for a grander purpose. I hope I'm teaching my children something in the midst of it all. So
no, that's actually a really great way to look at it. I think that's very healthy, because sometimes I think when I ask this question, people are like, I would do this. Actually, you are where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Everything is always aligned to, it's for a reason. Every experience, every, interaction that we have, it's for a reason.
Yes.
And so for you to say that there's not really anything that you would change, I think that's actually a very good sign. So, say it with chest.
Thank you. Yes, indeed,
But thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. Like, I've been very interested in hearing your story, because I've not really heard it before.
Yeah.
But before we go, I want you to promote your robes, because it's amazing business.
Thank
and
you.
The video that we just did on my relationship channel, I really want you guys to go over and watch it and listen to how this was birthed, and to really understand Lyanna's story, because I think it's an important one. And so I believe in what you're doing, and so I want you to promote yourself and tell people where they can get this from, how they can support you, and all the rest of it.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it means the world to me to just be highlighted in this way. So Afrique Robes is still very new Instagram page, so it's AFRIQUE Robes, just spelled normally, on Instagram. I am still building the digital shopping experience, so the website will be live by the end of August. And there are many ways to support. I mean, I think that even just following the page, staying connected, I'll have an email list and all of that soon. But I think just that would be the most helpful thing, because they will be available for purchase very soon.
There you go. I saw you did the shoot for it, and I was like,
I know
amazing.
You can't sell anything without photos of it. People gotta know.
No, but it looked like real fun. You guys had fun.
It was. I wanted to bring the energy that I feel about wearing the robes and the brand. I wanted, hopefully, for that to exude in the photo shoot and just the content around it. The content day was a lot of fun. Shout out to Content Sage. He was the videographer. He was really great. Kind of understanding the vision. So I'm excited for this journey. It's something new, and I'm very grateful.
Amazing. Thank you. Keep an eye on this one. She's going to do some great things. I'm telling you, she really is. Definitely.
Bless you.
But again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I know it's going to inspire some people, especially for those that perhaps didn't really know how to start or where they wanted to go. I'm sure you've given some great insight. So
I hope
appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, we are out. Nutty Papa. That's what Nutty Papa means. It means peace.
Really?
Yeah, anyway.
Nutty Papa. I love that.
Peace.
Nutty Papa. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's a perfect ending.
Yeah.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and